You must be some sort of boogeyman online.
I return energy. That's it. I have zero filters. I have zero cares because you literally can't do anything to me. You can't outrun me. You can't outtalk me. You can't make me poor. You can't take away my belief structure. I don't care about your opinion. It's just that.
Hey guys, I'm Josh Brown.
And I'm Jordan Stevens.
And you're watching the Cars and Health Bars podcast. Let's get right into the episode. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Cars and Health Bars. Today we are joined by Prey Performance. It is a performance shop specializing in LT engines, founded by Brett Stewart himself. How are you doing, Brett?
I'm well, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to have you on. We both are LS, LT kind of enthusiasts, so I think we got some common ground.
Yeah, I did the LS stuff for, years and years when they came out. Little behind on that. Like I had a 91 Z28 Camaro and other stuff. I'm sure we'll get into the historical facts of that. But so yeah, from like 02 to 2016, it was all just LS. And then a guy we'll talk about eventually, I'm sure, kept moving into further in the game LT stuff. So he bought the first A8 that came out, C7s.
Okay.
So the 15. He's like, man, you got to start doing this stuff. And I've been hit up by other guys prior to, and I was kind of dabbling, but I was like, no, I'm good. I don't want anything to do with it. So we started messing with it and went out and set like the pump gas record like 2 weeks later, which was early in the game. So,
yeah.
And then, I was like, no, I'm still good, and tried to keep doing the LS stuff. And then eventually, more of the LT came around and ended up selling my LS stuff, getting Fat Red, the 6-gen that kind of we became known for, I guess, whatever. And then from there, like I just didn't have the brain power to do both, and everything was EFI Live prior to. Had to EFI Live kind of crap the bed on us for the LT platform. So I had a buddy that was on HPT, and we were kind of like competing together. I'm sure we'll discuss him later as well. I just had to give up and capitulate and go to HPT, and so different. So, the source material, the way it reads, the way it puts out information, just completely different. So with everything I had going on at the time also, just couldn't keep up on both sides. So I just had to, I'm more of like a laser beam, so if I'm going to do anything, it's got to be at the top nth level. I'm just not going to do it. So I had to kind of shun the LS stuff and just solely focus on the LT stuff. So it's really not that I chose that platform or like I just got into it at that point. It was kind of just a necessity, and honestly just the lack of, with everything I had going on at the time also, just couldn't do it all. So I figured, hey, nobody's doing this. I'll focus on this and see what happens. So
and now it's a pretty big platform. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people do some crazy stuff with LT.
Yeah, highly superior in my opinion. Still love like the LS7s and the LS stuff. I mean, like we still have programs for everything. I just don't tune them. So, I would never blame somebody and be like, oh, you're going to build my car and you can't tune it. I mean, I'm not the guy to do that. I have plenty of resources, but you know what I mean? It's like, bro, I have all the products. I mean, feel free to go back to forums, because praise the Lord for forums, because all that information is still there. I just went back and looked up a post from like 2002 on Corvette forum that I made,
Wow.
and I was like, hey, wow. I started scrolling down and hadn't remembered, but Facebook, memory of a fish, Instagram, 10 times worse. So, it's, and I'm old. So, I'll be 48 in a month or two. So,
you forgot more than most of us have ever known, probably.
It was a necessity, man. Just being poor, just being a poor, and, having to do it yourself. And, like I said, I've never been a follower per se. And I just wanted to do stuff, and I had to do stuff on my own. So luckily I had the right people in my life at the right times that got to do, cool stuff and projects with those guys that have all moved on. But yeah, I mean, really the 6-gen thing was just a challenge. I think the fastest one at the time was like 11.6, 11, something like that. And it was all, no, you got to buy a product. You got to do this, or things just didn't exist. So, they were like, oh, porting this factory stuff won't work. Doing a cold air won't work. Doing this, doing that, whatever. So I think within 3 weeks of having it, I ran an 11.1 and doing everything people said you can't do. So like I ported the stock stuff. Me and a buddy of mine, Tim Sloper, basically invented the first flex fuel sensors and how to make them work. Put that on there. And like I was a full weight daily driver, and I had a 2SS, the leather interior, you name it. Mm-hmm. And I was a lot smaller back then. Well, I've lost like 50 pounds in the last 5 months. But anyway, I was probably only about 190 pounds back then. So still like 3,850 pounds. Didn't take a thing out of the car. Nothing. Just had the old, what was those things called? The something Star drag pack is like the first thing they had.
Oh, Race Star.
Race Stars, yeah. Stock converter, all that stuff. Everybody's like, none of this works. And I was like, well, that's weird because now I'm a half second faster than all of you. So
I think the biggest mistake is when people are like modifying LT engines, because I feel like you got it kind of, I mean, you've got the recipe is what it seems like.
Yeah, and like even the tuning bit, it wasn't, there just wasn't anything there. People just didn't know. And like HP Tuners was keeping up every week. And, Tim was a really good resource, Tim Sloper. He did a lot of the work on the first E85 sensors. We built like the first two, in his garage and we're sorting things out. And then, back then it was kind of just phone a friend, but nobody knew. So for me, with the limited time frame I had, because this has just been a part-time side hustle, let you guys dictate the narrative of how we go on sequencing and timelines. But yeah, I mean, because I did 23 years in the military, so I just retired in 2020. So really between deployments, all this car stuff was just to make up for deployment money, so that I could, still raise my family on a single, civil servant income, so my wife could stay in home and raise our kids, and she still worked part-time, at her company. But if I wanted something, I had to, hustle and negotiate with friends. And, there'd always be like 2 Corvettes in my garage. One, I'd be taking my old stuff out, and because I had a 02 Z06. That's kind of where everything where I became more well-known, I guess, during that time frame. Yeah. LS stuff. But yeah, we'd get back, and my buddies would have these like $100,000 freaking trucks and, all this stuff. And they saw the Corvette and they're like, oh, you must be rich. I'm like, bro, I paid like 30 grand for this thing. You're driving a King Ranch dually Lariat freaking Beetle. Like, what are you talking about? So, so it was just the hustle, man. So, I would take them for a ride and, they had disposable income. So they're like, dude, I want one of these. So I was like,
let me hook you up.
Like, you buy me my next set of mods, I'll do the labor for you for free and the tuning and all that stuff. And then I'll just drop that stuff in my car and just, kept going faster. And being here too in North Carolina, coming from, because I did, 3 or 4 years at Fort Campbell in Kentucky right when I came in.
Okay,
infantry, a scout sniper thing. And then went to Special Forces selection. I think I flew on the 8th and then 9/11 happened. So, talk about not knowing what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's a bunch of mind games and things like that. Can't really. I mean, it's pretty open source now what happens there, but back then it was all secret. Nobody knew anything. So you're basically awake for 3 days taking all these tests, and they're just messing with you and all this crap. So like 1 or 2 in the morning on the 12th, I guess, they call us all in and they're like, "Hey, we've now determined that we've been attacked and blah, blah." And I'm like, bro, this is such bullshit. I was like, whatever. So I'm like, dude, I just want to go to sleep, bro. Just let a kid go to sleep, man. I got things to do.
Yeah.
So I didn't believe it for a second. And then the commander was like, hey, if you got family in the Pentagon or World Trade Centers or whatever, raise your hand. I think there was 330 guys in my class. Like 80 dudes raised their hand.
Oh, wow.
And I'm looking around. I was like, oh, y'all done effed up now because now you just got your bluff called. So and then they said, no, we mean brother, sister, mother, father, like first line relative. Not one hand went down.
Wow.
And so they told the rest of us just to beat it, go back to the barracks at the time. It wasn't barracks, it was these little huts. They called them hooches. Go back to the hooches. So I was like, man, now they got to explain to a quarter of the class or whatever that is that, like, sorry, we effed up. No, really, your family's alive, you know? And so these dudes came, like, boo-hooing back, man, and were packing their crap and stuff. But at the same time, they're like, look, don't quit because there's no planes, trains, or automobiles. Like, you ain't going home. You know, you're not doing anything. If you want to get your get back, stay here, do your best, get selected. No one's going to go to war more than we are.
Yeah.
So, but it was crazy, man. I started in like Hut 6 because I'm an S, my last name. And I graduated out of like Hut 2 or whatever, or, you know, by the time. And it was literally called the Shit Shack. It had a big tab over it that said Shit Shack. And when you quit, you go to the Shit Shack, and then the next day you were gone. You got on a plane and went home. Well, They couldn't do that. So it was just backfilling. So every morning you'd wake up. Like, I saw one person quit, and it was awesome because he deserved it. But dudes would just disappear in the night. You'd think like you wake up, and be like, dang, man, did the rapture happen? Like, where the heck is everybody? So it just became a drill. You wake up in the morning, you pack your crap, and you just kind of look at your buddies, and everybody would start moving bunks. And but since they couldn't get rid of people, they just had to start backfilling. And then they gave all those dudes rifles and rounds, and they would have to be out pulling security while the rest of us, were doing it. Excuse me. But they didn't show it to us. They didn't talk about it. They didn't do anything. So it ended up being November when we got done. And
wow.
So got done. I got selected, whatever. I think it was, I don't remember. It was a decent amount. It was like a third, maybe 100, something like that. And then flew home, flew back to Kentucky. There was 2 fifth group guys on my plane, which was kind of funny because they were being recalled to deploy, to go to Afghanistan, to be the first teams in. So why exactly they're at Bragg at that time, like, I know now, but then I didn't know. So we get off the plane and we're walking, and these dudes just keep like looking at me. I'm like, hey, obviously we all recognize each other. I'm like, bro, where are you coming from? So I kind of just was like, oh, I was doing this thing. And they're like, all right, bro, look, we're in the thing. We get it. So, I got back home, drove in on a Saturday or Sunday, I guess, to see my guys. Wide open traffic, because I didn't understand, again, like what had happened. Again, no outside contact whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I see my guys. No one thinks, like, bro probably has no idea. So Monday I leave like normal. I lived about 25 miles from post. I left at like 4:30 in the morning or 5 like normal to get there by 5. I didn't get on base till 1 in the afternoon.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And then it's like being searched and all this craziness. So I get to work. I'm like, yo, what the hell happened? And everyone's just looking at me like I'm retarded. And I'm like, they're like, bro, what? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's right. You were gone. So, odd. So, everybody says, oh, I knew exactly where I was. Well, I know where I was at, but I have zero memories of it. Like, none.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So not until I got home did I actually see, anything.
Yeah,
so
all that military work between, like, working on cars and stuff, it's like that's crazy that you're on top of the game as far as cars goes while also being active duty military. Like, it's like you got 2 different lives going on, and raising a family at the same time.
Yeah, it was a complete separation. I mean, some of it, because I think I did 13 trips total. It just depends on how you, like, because I did, like, once, because I think I did 7 or 8 Afghanistans in Iraq, a couple Horn of Africas, and then a couple to the stands. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of them, were considered hostile fire, imminent danger, pay, combat deployments. But when I made E8, it was like Master Sergeant and Team Sergeant
Yeah.
thing. I would just go from like, I was what they called a war whore. So I would just go from team to team, whoever was going back. So I would, take over one team, go, and then at the end of that trip, I'd be like, "Hey, who's coming next? What are we doing?" I'd go home for a couple of weeks and turn around and go somewhere else and take over another team and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I did as many as I could, really, but then dudes were getting wore out, things were getting weird, and so we started getting a lot of press down on like downtime. So they kind of put a kibosh on that stuff on the end of it. You couldn't just keep going. So, so I mean, I still lucked out with jobs. Like I got to run the shoot house in the CQB school, and I got to teach there for 2 years, and then I got to go back and be in charge of it for 3 years. So those like kind of opportunities really gave me a moment to kind of leap forward, and like catch up. So, because one of them was in 2007, I guess, and I've been working with the Z06 that I had at the time because I basically started out with classic cars, in the 90s.
Yeah.
Grew up in a car culture. I grew up in San Francisco, so big car culture there. And with the smog laws and all that crap, we had to have old cars, and we were kids. We were poor. So like my first 69 Camaro was a really decent car. I got it for like $3,000 in like 94, 93.
Wow.
Yeah. So everybody had hot rods, everybody in the neighborhood, everywhere. And then my dad owned a machine shop, not cars, but silicon wafer, semiconductor, like big machines.
Yeah.
But there was a certain biker group that we ended up hiring. A bunch of dudes that we didn't know were in that biker group. So ended up working with them all the time. And just doing car stuff and things like that. But that's kind of where I learned a lot of the mechanical skills of just doing stuff, and then, my brother, former brother-in-law, whatever, he's been in my life since I can remember. He owns a company in California called Panavia now. They do super high-end, like AC Cobras and, that kind of stuff. Like, Reno has a few of his cars and, like a bunch of stars and all that stuff. But at the time, like he had put an L98 TPI motor in his Jaguar. It was just goofy stuff like that. So, like Tony Mamo was a nobody down at AFR. I got a couple sets of their heads right off the bat. Brian Tooley, well, that was later on. Tooley was still in Bowling Green at TEA. So when I was at Campbell, I would take heads up there to have them flow tested and stuff like that. So just by geolocation, things kind of worked out. But yeah, I ended up the 69 Camaro. I ended up buying everybody had to have the 750 double pumper on our 15-second cars back then.
Oh yeah.
So bought one of those off a dude and ended up having a car fire, burned the Camaro to the ground.
Man.
Yeah, it was like I had it painted. I'll try to like maybe email you guys a picture of it or something like that. Yeah, it was like this Nissan. I don't remember what color. It was like a Toyota color or something, but it was so blue it looked black until the sun just dead hit it.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh,
and then it would kind of swirl in, and had like these, what was it called? I can't remember now. Something blue, midnight something blue, and then Arctic white racing stripes with a black vinyl top. But we had it wet sanded, color sanded, like every single time, all this stuff. I literally got the final paint job done with that thing, and it burned down like a week and a half later.
Man.
Yeah, and it sucked because I had a D-stroke 400. I had a 377 sitting there with some of the first set of AFR 210s, solid roller, all that bit ready to go in. And I started tearing it down, and my brother calls me. He's like, "Hey, I got something to take care of. Just put it back together." And I used to shoot archery semi-professionally at that time. So he's like, "Just go shoot your bow, bro. We'll reconvene tomorrow." I'm like, all right. And driving over the mountains, the new reformulated gas that had 10% ethanol in it was eating rubber, and nobody knew. So ate the seals in the carb, freaking carb fire, and that was it. One lane road, and boom, gonzo.
That's awful.
Yeah, that was like 97-ish, somewhere in there.
You seem to be pretty true to like Camaros. I didn't know you had a first gen too, because I tried to do a little bit of research before we got on here. Of course, I know you're a big 6th-gen guy and you had the Z06, but I didn't know you had a first gen too. That's really
no, I
cool.
had two. I had two first gens. I had a 55 Bel Air. I had a 67 SS 396 Chevelle. I had a 69 GTO.
Nice.
That my sister ended up selling that when I was gone.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was actually my mom's car. My mom was kind of my grandpa owned a gas station. He hitchhiked in the 50s from North Carolina to San Francisco.
Good Lord.
Yeah, right after World War II. He had already lost the eye, so he wasn't allowed to deploy. So he got stuck down at Fort Benning guarding POWs.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's crazy because now I'm back here. He grew up like an hour north of here. And I mean, like, who knew? And then my grandma's from Anniston, Alabama. So, yeah, he was like hitchhiking while I was in the military. Saw a picture of my grandma. Thought the dude, it was like dude's wife or something. He's like, "No, man, it's just some cousin. I don't even know her." So he's like, "Can I write to her?" I was like, "Sure." So I don't know how that whole thing ended up working out, but yeah. So in the early 50s, I think, like real early 50s, he hitchhiked to California, got a job, made enough money to buy his own gas station in San Francisco, and then sent back, I think, for because my mom was born in the 40s. So yeah, my mom and my grandma or something like that. But yeah, so that's how we ended up out there. And then, but yeah, like I said, it was, that was what I was going to say earlier. So like anything 30 years or older got no smog.
Yeah.
So no emissions testing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, in 94, you were looking at like 64, 65 Novas. Everybody was looking for a square body or like a 55 Chevy or, whatever. Or I really wanted like a bug-eye Corvette,
yeah.
Had one opportunity at it, but then I invited the dude to a car show and everybody loved the car. And then next day the price went up like 10 grand the next day. Go figure.
Man.
Last person I invited to a car show. So, no, I had all those just as a kid. And then when that 69 burned down, I had a good buddy of mine that was stupid rich and like a 45-year-old child. And I could tell stories on that dude for days. But anyway, he had a 96 Corvette, a brand new convertible that he just didn't like because it wasn't as fast as his Viper and it wasn't as fast as his other cars. So he's like, "Hey, bro, just give me what they gave you for the 69 and I'll sell you the Corvette because I hate it." And I was like, so I got like a $40-something thousand brand new Corvette for literally like 15 grand.
That's crazy.
And, the LT, the original, the second version of the LT, because now we're on our third technically.
Yeah.
So, and then I couldn't afford the insurance. So like I took it back to him. And he's like, "All right, man, I'll buy it back, but let's go find you a car." So I found a 91 Camaro, like a poor man's F40, with the little wing on it and all that crap. So ended up taking the 377, cutting crap in it for smog, threw that in that car. That short block, unfortunately, was ill-fated. So it didn't even last during startup. Like the bearing clearances were all wrong.
Man.
I bought it from a company in LA that was supposed to be good.
Supposed to be good. Yeah.
No, got like half a thousand's clearance on the mains,
bro. I mean, literally, it was like zip, 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 rink, and that was it.
God.
Yeah, man. So,
out of all the Camaros you've owned, what's your favorite body style? Because I know your least favorite, and I want to get into that later.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously, the 69 is always going to have, the king,
out that.
Even the 68s were cool, but something about the flat, over the tires and all that stuff, and not the rounded, I would waffle though, because I had buddies with 68s and we would kind of swap them around and, kid stuff. But I gotta admit, man, I'm kind of a fan of the 3rd gen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my God. Did not expect that. What are all these like closeted 3rd gen fans, man? The last guy we had on, OSS, he's a big 3rd gen guy too. I'm like, what is going on here? Everybody that I talk to hates it.
So what's crazy is like Dude, I have more good memories with that car. So one of my best friends in life, he was a soldier too. He had just got out and was still around, and he was supposed to be like the King Dingaling, around there with his IROC. And,
Yeah.
and when the guys would see my Camaro, my third gen, they'd be like, "Oh man, if Sergeant Jackson was still around, oh, he'd wear you out." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Well, call his ass. Let's do this." And so he came in one day, and we were just BSing. And my house that me and my wife moved into was the only one that had a garage. So I had a detached like 26, garage.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So Craig, he had his IROC, and then we had a friend BJ that had an 87 TA, the Turbo 6 that he had swapped to a TPI motor. So, man, dude, the three of us, I can't even tell you how many, dude, we could pull a 700 R4 in like 15 minutes, rebuild it in an hour, and throw it back in.
God.
Like headers didn't exist, we made them. The manifolds didn't exist, we made one. It was just that kind of stuff because, just the three of us. It was so bad that my mom bought my wife walkie-talkies so that she didn't have to come outside in the weather to communicate with us. So, I don't know how long we were there. A year or two, maybe just a year or so. Because for the first year or two, I didn't even have the car. It was still in California. Like my dad was driving it. So I just had bikes. I just got into riding motorcycles. But there I was year rounding, and it was like snow, you name it. And then when I met her, she lived in Nashville. So it was 88 miles one way. So there's my dumb ass at 4 a.m. on a ZX7R doing like 100. Just literally, bro, feet kicked up, like hand on the freaking gas, laid on the tank, trying not to pass out, and just
God.
And then in the winter, it was miserable.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So, actually, a funny story on that. We were just dating, and I had a F3. I can't remember. It wasn't the Smoking Joe's one because that's what I wanted. But I had like a 97, 98, whatever it was, F3. And it wasn't enough bike for the both of us. And all my buddies had gone up to, 1,000cc bikes and everything. And I was just getting monkey stomped, anywhere we would go. So I was like, forget it. I'm going to get my car out here. I'm going to go get rid of the bike. And, dude, I went from making like $40,000 a year as a 17-year-old working in my dad's shop, living at my mom's house, to making $300 every 2 weeks as a damn Army private. Oh. So the kid was poor. So my wife was doing good at the time. But like I said, we were just dating, and she couldn't call me. I didn't have a cell phone then. She actually got me a cell phone when I got here to brag in like 2002.
Wow.
Pagers, bro.
Yeah, and everyone's got phones nowadays. Ain't it crazy how different the world is now?
Oh, yeah. No, I'd go back in a heartbeat. But, yeah, I can't remember what happened. Maybe she paged me or something, and I called her from the dealership because she had a phone. And she's like, "What are you doing? Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm getting rid of the bike." And she's like, "What? I love the bike." I was like, "Nah, And so she asked me, she's like, "Well, why?" And I said, "Well, I can't, the one I want, can't afford, blah, blah, blah." Yeah. So she's like, "Well, I really like riding. So why don't we focus on getting your car? But what bike do you actually want?" And, I'm just talking to her. So she asked me what the difference was in the payment, and it was like a couple $100. And she was like, "I don't worry about it. Just get the bike. We'll take care of it."
All right.
I was like, say
yes,
word,
sir.
son.
Made me one of them.
So yeah, I got the bike and then got my car out. But it was funny. They said when they started it up on the thing, it got delivered to her work. And the guy like starts up. He's like, "Can someone please drive this thing off? It scares the crap out of me." And so but yeah, I had that, I think 1 or 2 years, and it ended up running 11.0. No, I'm sorry, not 11.0, my bad. 12.0 at 124 or something on Kumo Extra street tires in 98.
Wow. That's insane.
And I was just destroying the LT based catfish
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet.
everywhere I went around here. Oh, the LS version, sorry. So like the LSs were out, but I
Yeah.
was killing every LS I ran into, just destroying them. So I was like,
Wow.
why would I bother?
You were
Yeah.
trying to make a name for yourself way back in the day.
Yeah, no, because like even I put the word out like prior to moving here, trying to meet people. Because I was back and it was called Horsepower Junkies. It was like the only website, that was a kind of community of car people that I could find. So yeah,
Yeah.
a couple guys here had LT Camaros, LT1 original 90s, 97, yeah,
Gen
97,
2.
yeah. So linked up with those guys and back in the old VHS camcorder days, and we went out and yeah, dude, I drove out those guys' lives. And so everybody was kind of like laughing about it. And then I go to Fayetteville track all the time and, race there. And yeah, I really wasn't interested. Of all things, I actually tried to get rid of it and get an 03 Cobra right when they came out.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't
Yeah.
know about that. Going to the dark
Those are
side.
nah. That's a dream car there.
Yeah, I mean, I did come basically from like somewhat of a Ford family, I guess you could say. But everything I did when I was younger was Chevy stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, I like them. I don't care. I have zero brand loyalties even now. It's just the Fords are
Yeah.
complicated. You know what I mean? Like I'm too dumb to tune a Ford, bro. So yeah,
That's a lot.
I gotta know. I want to thank Blackout Coffee for sponsoring this episode of the Cars and Health Bars podcast. As you know, I work a blue-collar job just like most of you all do, and I need me a cup of joe to get me started first thing in the morning. I always like to hit some of this dark roast, brother. It puts hair on your chest, gets you good and woke up. And hey, if you got a wife like mine that loves some coffee, they've also got flavored coffee options such as jelly donut, salted mocha, cinnamon French toast. Look at the ratings on that, brother. Almost 1,500 5-star reviews. I've been drinking some of that good dark roast to get me started. And hey, they've even got instant coffee. We've all been there running late for work. Grab you one of these and dump it in your water bottle. You got coffee on the go. I want to again thank Blackout Coffee for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Go on over, support our sponsors, support our troops. Good old America. Get you a cup of Blackout Coffee, brother. Our first sponsor today, of course, you know them, you love them, Chemical Guys. They have the best car care products in the game. Of course, my favorite products here, you got the starter kits. I highly recommend the starter kits to any of our listeners because it is the greatest way to get a bulk amount of products. It's just the best bang for your buck. Even the mini arsenal, it comes with everything you need. It's got the honeydew soap, it's got the spray wax, it's got the bucket, the foam cannon, it's got everything you need. Cars 10 site wide for 10% off your order. I want to thank Speedway Motors for sponsoring the podcast. One of my favorite parts, wiring harness. They have a DIY wiring harness. So if you are not that good at wiring, they have a full kit that is a universal. You just pick what circuit you want. It is as simple as you get it. They have a lot of parts for your older cars. It's hard to beat these deals. Some of the best prices. That's always what I've known them for is the really good prices, the really good quality. So yeah, guys, hop on over there. See if they've got something for your build and use our affiliate link so they know that we sent you. And with that being said, guys, let's get right back into the topic. But before we get too far away from it, I got to know, I heard a little bit in a podcast, but I heard you hate 5th gen Camaros. We got to talk about that because me and Jordan, we're diehard 5th gen boys.
So here's the thing, right? So, I got to live above my means and be a bit of a snob with the LS Corvettes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you got to think, right? So I had from 04 is when I got I bought another 69 Camaro, not to detract and go digress again.
Yeah. No.
But when I got here, I bought another 69 Camaro that was half the Camaro I had, but I had to pay 10 grand for the piece of shit because of freaking Barrett
Muscle
Jackson.
car tax.
Bro,
Yeah.
Barrett Jackson,
Yeah, they give it to you.
dude, they ruined the game, son. Let me tell you. Like, the world was good prior to them.
Dodge Challengers were cheap.
Everything was cheap, dude. So, but yeah, I get here and I'm like, I'm going to get another one. And yeah, man, 10 grand. I was like, what? So, anyway, so I had the 91, had that 69. Ended up selling or actually, sorry. Then I ended up getting a Ram. So the '03 Cobra thing didn't work out. It's too expensive. So I found a '98 Ram Air TA.
Nice.
That's the best looking GM that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
I agree.
So that's kind of where I got into the LS stuff. While doing that, though, so I had the Ram Air TA. I went to Afghanistan, came back, had some money, finally in our lives. Didn't have, my kid was born 2 weeks. My first kid was born 2 weeks before I went to Afghanistan. So had some stuff say that, things were going okay for us monetarily. And I was doing work on the side with the car stuff. Anyway, get through the Q course, graduate the Q course on like a Friday. The next Monday, I'm going to Afghanistan. My kid was born the day I got liberated from SEER school. You guys can look that up. I went from the RTL, so getting my ass whooped, to literally leaving there and going to the hospital and having our first kid.
Wow.
And then, a couple of weeks later, off to Afghanistan. So I get back from Afghanistan, and I'm driving the Trans Am around. I still have the 69. I'm getting ready to put twin turbo kit on the big block that was in there, all this other stuff. And then, hey, we're this, that, and the other. So got rid of that. Was driving around and saw Corvette. And that's what I always wanted. It was always wanted a Corvette. Yeah. So took the sales manager for a ride in the Trans Am that I had cammed and done some other stuff too. And we worked out a deal. So I drove off in an 02 Z06. I didn't even know what it was.
Nice.
All I knew is it was the stick shift of what they had on the showroom floor. They had a convertible automatic, and they had the Z06, which was a stick shift. I didn't even care about the body styles. I don't know anything about them. But I just liked that one better. It was black, whatever. So I get it, and I'm on the way home, and my wife calls me. She's like, hey, can you pick up our friend's kids at school? And I was like, one at a time. So she's like, what? And so I show up at their house in the Z06, and she's like, oh my God, bro, what did you do? I was like, remember I told you yesterday? She's like, no, you said you stopped somewhere yesterday. So having that, and literally like bone stock, I think I was 4th or 5th at the time. Bone stock, I went 1206 at 116.8. And this is before I knew about DA, anything. Like I didn't know shit. Yeah. I was just out there rowing gears.
Yeah.
And the Trans Am cammed and all that other stuff, fastest I ever went was 12.0 at 115. And, I didn't understand solid axle, weight transfer. I didn't understand any of that stuff at the time at all. So having the Corvette, getting spoiled on those. So now you got to figure I've got from 04 to 2010, of doing nothing but, and skipping the LT1 version, the original, the OptiSpark version, because they were trash.
Yeah.
And then really kind of doing LSs for friends, because I was tuning and, all that stuff and porting, tuning, everything I do now, I was doing way back then. I mean, I've been doing it since I was a kid. Yeah. So, because like I said, I'm going on 30 years of doing it all now.
Yeah.
Or 31 years, I guess. So, maybe more than that now. God damn. I'm old, bro. Because I think I started messing with that stuff when I was like 15.
Yeah.
So, so the 5th gens come out, and I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good looking car. It's a throwback to the 69s. They're trying to do a retro thing. I dig it.
Uh-huh.
Well, I have like 2 or 3 customers bring them to me, and now it's the LS3, which is a great motor, and just the standard porting the heads, doing the stuff. They're making like, I don't know, 70, 80, 100 wheel over what, the baseline LSs were doing in the Corvettes. So I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. I can't believe we're making all this power. Well, then I went to go race one. And I'm like, how in the world is this car this freaking slow? But like I said, I didn't understand power to weight. I mean, literally just completely ignorant to everything.
They're a modern day boat.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, the biggest kick in the nuts was I built one for a dude at work. We put a Whipple on it, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
No, Kenny Bell. So the Mammoth and everything that was Kenny Bell at the time. Do they even exist anymore?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I see him on
very
some
excited,
Cobras
that's
and
for sure.
stuff, but
Yeah. It made so the same day, same tuner, same everything, same dyno. The fifth gen makes 770 square.
yeah,
And the C6 that I'm in only made like 438, 440 little mild head cam thing for just the older
Yeah.
customer that just wanted some sound for cars and coffee, which didn't exist then, but you know what I mean.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we leave and it's a hump to get back to the house and it's just dead straight highways. So of course, this kid wants to ride out. So dude, it was like Corvette, and then eventually by like 150, he would start to catch up.
Oh
And
my God.
I was like, hold on, let's switch. So like I call the customer, I'm like, hey man, you mind if my homie drives your car? He's like, oh, I don't care. I was like, okay. So we switch. Same thing. So it wasn't even
Wow.
driver mod, bro. Just power to weight. And
That's so sad.
yeah, and I was just like, this is disgusting. So, and then, even though the Corvettes are cheap plastic pieces of shit, let's all be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fifth gen's interior was horrendous compared to that. And you know what I mean? Like I felt like I was just getting in a tank. I mean, I drove.
Oh, they're big.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
I have mine partially gutted, and it might hit 3,800 pounds. I hope. I mean,
yeah,
it's
which is
so
bananas.
heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that, and I almost bought a couple to be honest with you. Like I was looking for a C6Z because I was building a bunch of C6 Z06s back then. And was having phenomenal luck with them. We were making 650 wheel back in 06, 07, 08, whatever it was with those motors. I was just porting the heads and cams and that kind of crap. So, and we were just waylaying people all over the place. Fifth gens, a lot of that too. I mean, that was a couple other. I have a good friend of mine. I won't mention him in this context because he's good at what he does. It wasn't his fault. But he had a bunch of fifth gens back then that were boosted and this, that, and the other. And the second or third Z06 I did, it made like 640, 650, something like that. And I was just breaking it in, and I run into a twin turbo fifth gen leaving my house doing the break-in, murdered that guy. And then when I'm turning around coming back the other way, I run into another boosted fifth gen, drive out of that guy's life. So we pull over, and he's like, what, you got a blower nitrous? I was like, no, man, it's just a motor car. He's like, dude, no way, I make like 1,000 horsepower. I was like, nobody makes 1,000 horsepower. You're full of shit. So we end up going to the track a couple days later, and there's that whole crew. There's like 7 or 8 of them. And I'm in the one customer's car. So I was like, hey, guys, and that's kind of when I got introduced to a friend of mine now. He thought I was Rick Crawford, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was like, hey, that one and that one, did you guys race that car the other day? And then they just kind of looked, they were like, oh, yeah. So my buddy's like, oh, you must be Rick Crawford. I was like, who? And he's like, oh, never mind. And so we just kind of started talking. So I wasn't trying to be a dick. I was literally asking, like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I just want to know. So, So yeah, man, fast forward a little bit, the dealership, I was really good friends with the guys at the dealership. I would actually tune for the dealership and stuff, things that they weren't allowed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would call me and I would just go down there and do what I needed to do. But I was looking for a C6 Z06. So they call me, hey, bro, we just got one in. Because I had a V1 CTSV at the time. Because I had a Trailblazer, and then I traded the Trailblazer in. I did a head cam thing on that, ended up making like 460s or 470s, which was fun, but it was like, I'm probably getting in trouble for this, but it was like dating a fat chick eventually. No matter what you do, she's still fat.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like makeup, tits, whatever, still fat.
Yeah.
So, so I was at that point where like, hey man, either we're going to have to gut this thing, put a 4L80 in it, do all this crap, which I couldn't afford and didn't want to. Yeah. But I had a ton of fun with it. And so I got the V1, unbeknownst to me that it was the same thing, just in a different form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, did a 416 for that, made like 570 wheel. Thing was a barrel of monkeys. But I was doing V2s for friends, and the V1 was outrunning the V2s that I was doing. So, not by much. It was close.
I was about to say, that's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, 570 wheel and a V1 is legit, you know, on motor, because motor cars just run. And I was doing I was doing two V2s for guys at work at the time. Very basic stuff. I don't really even remember what was on them, to be honest with you. But
is that one of your favorite setups? Is like, because here recently, especially with the 6 gens, man, I see so many all motor 6 gens. Is that like the best setup for like an LT1 6 gen car?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like how deep you want to get into it, really.
Yeah.
Because I was a 6 gen snob, like an NA 6 gen snob with a red car, especially going to like Camaro Fest and outrunning the ZL1s. And, you know, I was like, ZL1s are the biggest turds in the world. You know, this, that, and the other. And, you know, just going deeper and deeper and deeper into the 9s on motor with the NA stuff, you know, and ended up, had a guy just call me out of the blue, offered me 50 grand for my car. And I was like, all right. So I sold it, bought a ZL1 and paid off the Trailblazer that I have now, just our shop truck. And like a week and a half later, he calls me back. It's like, yo, this thing scares the crap out of me. Can I sell it back to you? And I was like, hell no. And so I ended up buying it back from him for 30 grand. So I made like 20 grand in a week.
There you go.
Wow.
And but I had my wife's ZL1 at the time. Literally, I think within a month, I ran 880s in the ZL1.
God.
So I went from like, this thing's a turd, to running 880s with, you know, I think I put a cam in it and bolt-ons and just the normal crap. Hand ported the blower, did the heads, just the stuff I was doing to the NA stuff, and then just had the factory blower on there. But yeah, literally within just a couple weeks of having it, you know, if it was even a couple weeks, went 880s and set the record for the ZL1s. And I was like, wait a minute, this thing's like a million times better car. Like, what in the world?
How many records do you hold right now? Because I know, I mean, you've always been setting them.
GPI's caught up now just because after Fat Red got crashed and Ben died and, you know, all that stuff, just down a car, had to recover from that, had to move. We had to close down his shop. We were moving into an 8,000 square foot shop together. I had sunk a ton of money into that place. And then it was all on me to pay for it. We were supposed to go it was supposed to be 3 of us that went in on that shop. I kind of had no interest in that shop at all because it didn't suit me. Because you got to remember, I've just been working out of my downstairs garage here. And like, I lived in a little starter home, not little, but I lived in a starter home in a neighborhood for 16 years, just saving our money. And just doing crap in literally a 24 by 24 or whatever it was garage, just enough to pull 2 Corvettes in. And, you know, so for what I was doing, engine building, tuning, porting, I didn't need anything, you know. Ben had the shop, Ben had the dyno. There was a place local, still a great friend of mine, talked him into getting his dyno right when I got here in like 2000. Well, I got here in like 2002, but about 2004 or 5, we started talking about the dyno jet, and it was a big deal for him at the time, but talked him into getting into it, figured out how to use it, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time, you know, a little bit later, I was having to pay full price, come in after closing, use it by myself, close the place down, you know, and lock up and then leave. And I was like, bro, I can't sustain this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I found Ben, who had just left another place that we had both had terrible experiences with. And
no shortage of those.
Yeah, bro. This place called Carolina Auto Masters, Jeff Creech. Lord have mercy on all of our souls. That dude ruined my vet. Really? I always wanted, this is true. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm going to find some way to be rich. I don't want to work on cars. I don't want to do shit. I'm going to pay other people to do it. I'm just going to drive them. And then that didn't happen, A. And then B, the caliber of work I was getting was absolutely atrocious. So it was just easier for me to do it by myself. When Ben graduated from tech school, he went to work there and realized how terrible it was. So he ended up doing everything he could to make it better. And then eventually him and his buddy quit and started Prodigy Automotive. So his buddy had realized that being poor and running your own company really sucked, and he had bailed on Ben at that point in time. So it was just Ben eking it out by himself. And then I found out about his dyno somehow. I can't really remember how, to be honest with you. So I started taking cars up there. And, we just became fast friends. So when I got the 6th gen, I probably did 5 or 6 out of my old house. And then we were in transition. So in like 2018, I think, we had saved up enough money. I bought 60 acres. And then we started building a house out here where I live now. And originally there was supposed to be a 30 by 30 pad. I keep looking down because in my wife's office, she's like the banker. You remember on Let's Make a Deal? So she can see in the shop from her window up here. So anytime we need something, we walk to the door and just look up and she'll be like, what? So we call her the banker. So that's why I keep looking, out here because I can see the shop and stuff. But anyway, I didn't have enough to build the garage, the shop. I only had enough to do the house and stuff after I paid for the land and all that crap. So the company was supposed to come back a year later and build the garage to match the house. Anyway, that didn't happen. Then COVID hit. I had like 50 grand cash, dude. And I called like 6 different people trying to get a $20,000 building built. And I guess people just didn't like money during COVID. I'm like, I'll give you all of this. I'll pay double if you just come build an effing shop. And nobody would, Little did I know it was just God's planning, at that time. He knew what was coming and I didn't. And so we would send everything to Ben's. Like I said, I did probably 4 or 5 by myself, take him up there, and we would chit chat. And he was a talented tuner and obviously a phenomenal fabricator and mechanic and, all that stuff too. So it was great having that, resource to bounce off of and all that stuff. So, it was just peas and carrots. But at the time, I only wanted to build my crap to go faster. That's all. I didn't care about anybody else's crap. I just did it so I can make money to go racing. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, true story. I mean, I couldn't care less how fast other people's crap went. I just wanted mine faster, and I needed the money to do it. So, there was no pre-performance at the time. There was nothing. There was no inkling. I couldn't have a real identity with my job. Yeah. So I wasn't allowed to have Facebook. Families weren't allowed to have any kind of social media, nothing. Like I had a customer set up. A customer set up my Facebook in 2017 to help out. And I was so against it. That's where pre-performance came from. That's like nobody knows my real name. And now they do. But nobody did. And I had 2 proxy companies that my buddies ran that were selling my stuff under their names. And then I was doing all the work for them.
That's crazy. You built that without, you were kind of like a ghost for say. Nobody knew who Brett was. They just knew Prey.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And I used to have a different name called Lethal Racer, but I was out of control online. So I had to change it to something that would try to keep me more in check. So I just changed it to Prey on the forums. After my first deployment, some other stuff happened. It was kind of a joke between me and a couple buddies. Anyway, because honestly, we started the business more as like a ministry and just a way to be able to give more back to the church and all that other stuff. Because once we had money going, we live. I know it sounds ridiculous. Like, I have 4 6 gens and freaking this and that and the other, but that was all dumping money back in. You know what I mean? That was all because we could. And it wasn't because we were taking away from, what we were giving. It was just, that was our blessing of extra. And it was building something. And the more we made, the more we gave. It's just the way it works.
That's perfect. Before you get being too much of a good boy, I want to go back to what you were talking about, being online, because that was the one thing that we got talked to, our fans, the people who know you. I think I made a post. I'm like, hey, if you guys have any questions for, pre-performance, let me know. Yeah. Man, you must be some sort of boogeyman online, because I heard nothing about, but he's this guy, he's awful. He argue all the time on Facebook or in forums. What are you getting into online, Brett?
I return energy. That's it.
I love that.
I have 0 filters. I have 0 cares, because you literally can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
That's valid. I like that.
You can't outrun me. You can't outtalk me. You can't make me poor. You can't take away my belief structure. I don't care about your opinion. It's just that I don't
And
need
people don't like that.
people don't like that, and that's why I'm an industry outsider. They hate it because I do things on my own. I don't need
Yeah.
you to tell me what I need to do. I don't need you
Yeah.
to. I don't need to buy your product that's overpriced and under delivers. And that's how you make money in this business. You hype your product, you overcharge, and you underdeliver. And that's all I saw.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That's one thing. I won't mention names just in case, but
Yeah,
you
no.
know, a tuner that I've used in the past, there's a specific set of injectors that he say, if you bring that Chinese crap to me, I'm not touching your car.
Not
And I
touching it.
respect that. I
Yeah, not
respect
touching
that.
Yeah. And like I said, I never planned on this being a business anything. So back in the forum days, like I said, it wasn't, I have a job. I have a retirement. I won't tell you what I make just for waking up, but I make
Yeah.
a really good living just for waking up. So like, I don't need to do this. You know, I did my 23 years. I'm 100% disabled, combat related, you know, it is what it is. Like I knew my career path. So like, I'm fine. So I'll be fine. But yeah, it was the same, you know, because I was a warrior for my entire life, and people
Right.
don't understand that part because it's so far removed. And like, I never came out and was like, "Hey, look at me," you know, I used to be this. When it comes up, yeah, I'll tell the truth about it. You know, when somebody gets out of line and they just think I'm some dude on the internet. I mean, honestly, when all this started, it was another company's people that just hated me and couldn't stand it. So I drove to 8 states for fights, and races broke out. So people really change their energy when you're standing right in front of them.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can believe that.
And yeah, this whole thing, this is cute. But, you know, the first Camaro Fest, I just went there to knock people out. That was it. I didn't care about
Only
the
had a mission.
I did. I loaded up the car. I drove 12 hours or whatever at 95 miles an hour. And the first thing I did was drive to the hotel looking to fight. And to the track the next day. And that was it. That was the only reason I was there. Now I ended up going number 1 qualifier and basically was winning the event. But, you know, that's the only reason I went.
Yeah. I had no idea like how, I mean, I knew you were involved online, but I didn't know you've been to all these Camaro Fests and everything. Cause I've been to Camaro Fest a few times, and like I said, you've just kind of been, in terms of Prey and Boogeyman, we're kind of the two together that I always heard. And that's really cool. And I guess you're going to be like sponsoring one of the all motor class Camaro Fest.
Yeah, I'm sponsoring this one. So Camaro Fest was fine. You know, I mean, like I said, 17 we won, 18 we won, 19 we won, different events, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And kind of by then, like I was just sick of sweating my ass off, man. And then like having to prep the track. I mean, yeah dude, if it benefits other people, I will be the biggest dick in the world. So, you know what I mean? But I don't do it for myself. So it was like cars were skidding out. Cars were doing like, because the big legend is that like I bullied the kid on the freaking starting line, and I took the prep, and there's pictures of me prepping, you know, the lanes at Camaro Fest by myself. And, you know, that's not really what happened. I asked multiple times, like, this is unsafe. Let's freaking prep the track. You guys haven't done anything, you know, and they didn't want to do it. So I took it upon myself to make it a safer event. And then when they came to confront me, it didn't work out in their favor. So that was it. I wasn't even in the lanes. It wasn't even my stuff. It was the other guys. Like it wasn't like I was prepping for myself. You know, I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. You know? So it's not that I didn't like the event or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. They were running a decent thing. It was just unorganized. It was, and it wasn't just me. Like I didn't just invent like, hey, I'm going to go complain. You know, it was
I've heard a lot. I mean, we're local, we're in Bowling Green, so I mean, we've heard that too. I mean, Camaro Fest has always been that event that I'm gonna be honest, I'd say I wouldn't even say half of it is locals, because it's just like we just don't go to that event. It's just not really, we just never hear anything good about it. But you know, OSS, Josh taking it over, we're definitely gonna be trying her out this year.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to crap on the event at all. It's just like when you have something in a bowl on a river in the middle of summer that gets no airflow. Everyone's out there sweating like freaking Hebrew slaves, dude. Like
in July,
you're making bricks with no hay. You know, it's just
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, how do you keep 140-degree temp track not greasy? Like I don't know. Like I'm not a prep master. You know what I mean? But It's rough, man. I mean, it is rough, and I understand the time frame and all that stuff because people are off and you get max participation. And I had a great time. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was just so hot, and like I said, it was just guys were moving through different like crews, and they were having to rely on other people. There was no like real command and control. It was kind of the track's going to do it. No, they're going to do it. No, they're going to do it. So yeah, and then like I said, COVID hit. We'd already won it enough times, and a friend of mine, Brandon Hill, and I decided to make the event in November in Maryland. So I can't remember what it's called now. Anyway, we had all come up with that there. Either we were going to do it here at Fayetteville or we were going to do it up there. So I can't remember exactly what year it was, actually, 17, 18, about the same time frame. So Brandon and I coordinated that the first time, put out the word. Everybody showed up to that as an alternative event. And it was great. And then I did that a couple of years. Brandon took it over kind of second, third year. I just backed away from it. It's his event now. And he does a great job with it. But like I said, I kind of had a bad taste in my mouth for Camaro Fest. There was kind of no point in going anymore.
Yeah, it's a long drive too.
It is, and but as far as like friends and going and having a great time, yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, and it's a great location. There's a lot to do. You can see the Corvette Museum. You can go to Mammoth Cave or whatever they're called. You can go.
Yeah.
They have the water park there. For like a dude that's just stuck there with like 15 cars, and all of the customers and all that stuff. At the time, it was a bit overwhelming, and I was solely focused on just me and winning. You know what I mean? I didn't have all of this. It wasn't 10. What are we? Almost 10 years removed now. 9 years. So that's a long time. For things to change and people to change and all that stuff. So heck, 3 or 4 of the dudes aren't even alive anymore.
Yeah.
So so don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing Camaro Fest, and obviously I'm sponsoring it again, but I also started getting invited down to Orlando for Cadillac Attack. So I started sponsoring that instead. Like, I'm more of like a big wave hunter. You know what I mean? Kind of like a winter guy. It's like, and we had, like I said, I had the keys to Fayetteville. So I would just, same with Rick Crawford and stuff. I mean, Rick would call me, hey man, DA's getting down. And that's when I started learning about weather and weight and, how to prep and all that other stuff. So yeah, we were just, record hunting, honestly. That goes back to what you were saying. So basically we're the first in the 10s, first in the 9s, first in the 8s on motor. The only still 9-second M6 car. We were the only 2 9-second bolt-ons for a long time. We still have the bolt-on record, A8 and A10 and M6. I've had the ZL1 record multiple times, the NA stuff multiple times. And just until lately, I mean, you got to think it's been over 2 years, 3 years now that Ben died and the car's been gone. So like I haven't had an NA car nor a care to go after this stuff. My customers want a grudge race. They don't really care about the rest of the stuff. And honestly, trying to live vicariously through your customers, they're never going to spend what they need for the most part to get back out in front. You know what I mean? So, and like I said, I was moving into that other shop. I had to move. There was 27 cars at Ben's that weren't done when he passed.
That's insane.
That wasn't my business. Yeah. People thought he was Prey Performance. He wasn't. He was Prodigy Automotive. No one ever paid me a dime for the work that got done there. I never made a dime off the work that got done there. That was all just 2 mutually supportive friends, that were helping each other out. But he got to the point where he didn't have to do anything else except for the projects that we were working on. And he was just as motivated as I was. It was great having a like-minded and a like work ethics person. You know what I mean? I just basically took my military work ethic and applied it to the civilian sector in this sport. So, and, after all of that, like I had some things going on in my own head. Like I had some brain damage I didn't know about and, some stigmas that nobody wanted to admit to. So for me, spending 12 hours in the garage on the grinder in my own head was like peaceful.
Yeah.
I didn't have to deal with people. You know, I didn't have to offend my family, you know, none of that stuff. So people thought we were much larger just because I didn't want to be around anybody. And it was more cathartic or therapeutic at the time for me because I really didn't know what was going on then with myself personally to just not be around anybody. So the amount of work I was able to put out was ridiculous. So, you know, people were just like, oh, they must be some big company. Nah, dog, it's been in my garage until I was forced to build a shop. You know, like I said, the 27 cars were there. They had to get done. You know, we moved them to the other shop, which now I had to completely pay for by myself, which wasn't at all geographically convenient, nor was there any point for me to be there because I didn't want to do any of that stuff. So, yeah, we had to move everything there, try to get that done. Then I had to build this shop here. And then I had to buy a dyno, and we had to buy lifts, and we had to buy all the equipment because we took nothing from there. Nothing.
Yeah.
It was just
start from scratch.
Yeah, literally started from scratch. So no car, no partner, no building, no nothing. And then just everybody still thought it was just me. So it was my name on the line, you know, of getting all this stuff done and taken care of. So we've been on the rebuild.
All good.
Yeah, I've tried to reclaim my life, bro. It doesn't happen. That guy's showing up. Hey, man, I'm going to do this. I'm like, sorry.
We could wrap this up. I've just got a few rapid fire questions for you here at the end. We do this with every guest. We want to get you on these before we let you go. Just real quick, first thing that comes to mind. Favorite cam spec range?
You're going to laugh. 20s to 30s. I'm not a big cam guy. I'm an airflow guy. I don't need giant cams to make power because I make giant airflow.
All right. Best bang for your buck mod?
Flex fuel sensor.
Yeah.
E85. On a DI car. On a DI car.
Yeah.
On a port car, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
You've been all over the horsepower spectrum. So in your opinion, what horsepower number does reliability start to drop?
Anytime you touch the car after stock.
Yeah, I love
if you
that.
If you want to keep your warranty, or if you don't want your car to break, keep your warranty.
Absolutely. All right, LT1 versus LT4.
LT4 for sure.
Okay. Ported intake worth it?
Absolutely, 100%.
All right. Last one, biggest waste of money mod.
Anything visual.
My man.
Literally anything that adds weight.
Yes, sir. My stock ride height Camaro just did a smile.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. If you want to defeat yourself, add weight to your car or do something that looks Gucci.
Guys, this has been Brett from Prey Performance. Brett, where can people find you? Where can people support you? All that good stuff.
Just, Prey Performance on Facebook. I'm not big on Instagram. I can't deal with it. It's like lowest of the low IQs.
Valid.
It's just crazy. Like, we do have some presence there, but Facebook's our biggest one. And then info at preyperformance.com. That's basically it, man. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just to end with, like I said, we started as a ministry, not really a business. I know that I have that persona and all that other stuff, but honestly, it's just because I just return energy, man. If you're cool, I'm cool. If you want to act up, I will act up like no one's ever seen before. So
I can confirm, Brett, not boogeyman.
Yeah, man.
You heard it here.
People that act up and then try to be cool after, I'm like, hey, cool, man. Bygones be bygones. Let's just work.
Yeah.
Let's work. I will work with anybody. I'll help anybody. That's how it all started. But because like I'm a nobody, like I'm a zero talent nobody, bro. I just work hard, below average intelligence for sure. Everything's just been a blessing, and I know where everything comes from, and I give the glory back. I don't care. Like, people think I'm some conceited butthole, but it's like history is history. I will quote history back to you anytime you want. If you want to say a history book is conceited, then knock yourself out. But it's simply historical facts. Like, I don't say I'm going to do or this and that. Just talk about what's been done and what we think we can do in the future, maybe. But so
Absolutely.
that's it, man.
I respect that.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, if you need some tuning, porting, cams, reliability, or power strategies, hit up Prey Performance if you want to have a fast LT.
And LSs, we have a full LS lineup. I just don't tune them, but I have cylinder heads, cams, you name it. I mean, I've got 25 years experience doing those, or whatever it is now. Keep getting older every day. It's weird.
Hey, heard that.
I
right,
appreciate
guys.
you guys, man. Thanks a lot for having me on. This
Yeah,
was awesome.
thank you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, you heard it here. We're going to throw it to an outro, and we will see you in the next one. Brother, what are you still doing here? Check out some of these social medias below me. If you're not following, go change that today.